Do you remember when Timbaland wanted to make a whole AI album with notorious big vocals generated by some artificial intelligence program? He even leaked a demo to one of his beats, and it was so unpopular, just the idea of creating an album with an artist that's deceased, that I'm pretty sure he tabled the whole idea. I mean, I haven't heard any updates that he plans on actually completing the album or working on it any further. But now he's endorsing Suno, and he's using it in a way that potentially replaces songwriters. So my question is, taking Biggie out of the equation, is he getting backlash for endorsing Suno, which is a platform that's currently being sued and has been proven to steal producers' sounds, styles, and tags? Or is this okay with people because bringing Biggie back into the equation, that's just disrespectful to the dead, and his fans aren't going to stand for that? Leave a comment. Let me know what you think. All full-length MEC podcast episodes are being uploaded to the new MEC channel. The link is below in the description.
You heard me say I want a female singer on this track. You went to Suno. Okay, let's hear it.
Put your walls to no rest. Let me be you.
Now there's a harmony. And that's the B section.
So if I was an artist, you know, I'd definitely be trying to figure out, you know, how to best use these new tools to my advantage, whether it's ideas. If you don't have anybody, I think you should be building your network so that you have different people to feature on your record. So you shouldn't have this problem. However, if you don't have people that you reach out to for collaborative songs and things like that, you know, turn to AI. At the end of the day, if it sounds good, that's all that people really care about. I know that you guys might have a different opinion. But yeah, I mean, people push back on auto-tune and, you know, not Pro Tools, the Fruity Loops. And it's really, this stuff is just a tool, in my opinion. But Erinn, you look like you disagreed a little bit. What's up?
I mean, I think the way that it's set up is like Timbaland being like, you know how the guy was like, you know how I wanted female vocals on this. It's like Timbaland could have like tweeted and had 1,000 people send back a great vocal. Do you know what I'm saying? So I think it's interesting, funny to me that the positioning is like, clearly you have vested interest in this product. You know, you're Timbaland. Like, you don't need a female. You probably have studio interns, and your secretary is probably an incredible singer because she just wants to be a proxy. You know what I'm saying? So that part to me was a little bit funny. Shout out to the marketing. It's effective.
If you had to guess, so if you had to, I mean, obviously we don't know. People posting videos all the time, but like, do you think this is like a stage reaction, like a stage? This isn't like an in the moment.
Oh yeah,
definitely. Because why would you mention the software that you're using by name? You know what I'm saying? Nobody's like, oh, yo, load up the pull up the Ableton. It's like nobody's saying that. He was like, yeah, Suno.
Well, and Suno back in May raised 125 million, so I'm sure they have a lot of money to pay influencers like Timbaland.
Timbaland's probably one of the investors. He's probably
I was going to say that
120 million raised.
I was going to, because a lot of people like Will.i.am and a bunch of producers who you would have thought would never invest in ushering in a product that could potentially replace and automate what they became legends doing. That's what they're doing. So
it's kill or be killed pain. So if I'm a millionaire and I'm in my 50s and I got kids who are soon going to have my grandkids, and I know this shit is coming regardless, I might as well invest in it and win versus telling everybody, don't use AI, don't use AI, don't use AI. Then you're the old head that nobody wants to talk to anymore. So for me, this is just like, I got to be careful with my words, but it makes sense what they're doing. I'm not saying that I don't necessarily love this, but like, I get it. It's kill or be killed. You might as well be like, Timbaland does not need this. Timbaland Timbaland could sing it himself and pitch it up. And then, you know what I'm saying? Like, Timbaland doesn't need this, but shout out to Timbo for getting his bread, I guess.
Well, it's actually a really tame video because, you know, that was just a melodic, you know, and a lot of songwriters work this way. When I was working with, well, I'm not going to say, it doesn't matter who it is, but there was a big, I'll say the big songwriter's name. It was Charlie Puth. How do I say his name? Erinn, you know.
Charlie Puth.
Puth, okay. So incredibly well-known solo artist, but accomplished songwriter. He's writing all the pop hits. I know he wrote Stay for the Kid Laroi, for example. So he's still very much an active songwriter and you know, at the top of the pop echelon. But he did that too. He wrote a song just like that. He wrote nonsense words and just vocalized throughout all the melody and even harmonies to nonsense words, just like what we saw in that Timbaland clip. And then had another songwriter write the lyrics. But again, just because that's what they're doing, well, they're humans doing that. You know what I mean? And so we've covered, for example, the Tiffany Red situation where she was bringing light to the plight of songwriters, how little they get, how the industry is continuing to encroach on the little piece that they get when they write a song. And so now with this, you know, we're completely replacing them. The crazy thing is, with those AI platforms, you could have just typed the lyrics in. Timbaland could have typed the lyrics in and gotten a full reference, and then either released that as an AI song and maybe you know, pulled a Mike Smith. I'm not saying that he would do that, but you know, you could do that, or just shopped it to one of his artists, either an established artist. You could have been like, you know what, this sounds like Sierra. It kind of did. Here, it's in her range. Or maybe he has new artists on the roster that he's delivering songs to. Hey, the song is completely written. I don't have to pay a songwriter. I don't have to wait for a songwriter. I don't have to split equity with a songwriter. And so, you know, I think for someone who's already rich and established and is just going to make more money before the bubble bursts, hey, yeah, that's capitalism. For the rest of us, because I see a lot of producers who are like, this is great, I love this, you know, I don't want to deal with a songwriter. It's like, you don't want to deal with a songwriter because you maybe are antisocial, maybe you don't want to network, maybe you are lazy, maybe, I don't know, it could be a number of reasons, but ultimately they hand you a shiny gun and say, kill that songwriter over there. Well, as you're pulling the trigger, you suddenly feel the barrel of another shiny gun from a rapper who has very same tools, and they're about to pull the trigger on you. So keep that in mind. But also, Dame was saying, you know, Timbaland doesn't want to be seen as the old man yelling at the cloud when new technology emerges. He actually received a lot of criticism earlier. It was last year, almost a year ago to this day. Do you remember this, Dame? That was
Erinn that mentioned that.
No, but I'm saying, do you remember this last year when he was getting criticized for using AI to create a Notorious B.I.G. song?
Yeah.
So that happened, and he at the time wanted to create an entire album, but I think because of the backlash, he didn't. Because after these articles came out talking about the controversial response and the backlash he got, you know, I'll read an article on Business Insider. It said, when Timbaland posted an Instagram video earlier this year of him using artificial intelligence to recreate the voice of the late Notorious B.I.G. on one of his own beats, he was met with largely negative reaction. Man, this just doesn't feel right, though. One fan commented on the video. Such comments aren't going to stop Timbaland from using the technology. Obviously not, because we're here a year later. In fact, he's planning on making an entire posthumous Biggie album using it. I don't think that happened. Because we haven't heard. I think the controversy from the fans actually did stop that project. Maybe not. Maybe it's completely done, and I'm just gonna be eating my words in a month or two. But I think it did stop. So the court of public opinion does hand sentences out. It certainly does. And speaking of courts, Suno, I think the last update was the last update, but very, very clearly and unequivocally admitted on training major label-owned music. Their counter is they've accused labels of misusing copyright. So CompleteMusicUpdate.com writes, Suno has admitted it used music owned by the major record companies and us. You know, like, don't get it twisted. If they're so bold that they're that's why the Cash Money AP and the Honorable Sino producer tags were coming up, because they produce hit records for the Universal Music Groups and the Warner Music Groups. But if they're doing it to them, they're damn sure doing it to your NBA Youngboy type beat. They're damn sure doing it to a Ted Park song that's not affiliated with a major label. But anyway, they insist they're doing so under American copyright law, and they're talking about fair use, and they're claiming that the majors are just trying to shut down new competition. So it's funny. It's like you're watching a movie. It's like a Batman movie. Right, but instead of Spider-Man, it's two Venoms. Because these are not superheroes. The labels are not superheroes, and the AI companies are not superheroes. They're acting like they're Robin Hood with, you know, like an arrow pointed at each other. But really, it's like two Elon Musks with muskets pointed at one another. So, like, I got to find the humor in this. This is just nihilism.